Hi there, Working Homeschool Mom. This is Charlotte from Charlotte Jones 24/7 and My Little Homeschool. And this is episode number 110 of the Strike a Balance podcast for Working Homeschool Moms. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll find lots of things in this podcast or lots of topics that are going to help you on your working homeschool mom journey. And just to let you know a little bit more about me, I'm a working homeschool mom coach, and I help usually new working homeschool moms to figure out the messy beginnings so that you can take your first steps with confidence. Today, I'm going to be chatting about how to balance time as a work from home homeschool mom. I've been doing this since the beginning, since 2017. Before I started homeschooling, I also worked from home. So I'm very familiar with this kind of way of working. And I absolutely love it. But I also know that it can be difficult and that there are definitely some disadvantages. So I just want to give you some tips, some strategies for overcoming these things that I have found tricky so that you can take advantage of working from home and homeschooling at the same time. But before we get to the episode, I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, or you could forward this episode to a work from home homeschool mom who is struggling to balance time. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Hi there and welcome to the Strike a Balance podcast for working homeschool moms. This is Charlotte Jones. I'm your host and I am a podcaster, a speaker, a writer, and a homeschooling coach specifically for working homeschool moms. I've been homeschooling my neurodivergent twin boys since 2017, and I've been a working homeschool mom since 2017. So I know it can feel really overwhelming to keep all the balls in the air all the time. So each week I chat about tips and strategies for being a happy and thriving working homeschool mom. I cover things like time management, homeschooling, mindset, and lots of other juicy topics like that. I also speak to awesome and inspiring women who manage to juggle homeschooling and work successfully and find out what their secrets are. And I also welcome experts who can help you on your working homeschool mom journey. I have lots of ways to support you, so be sure to check them out in the show notes. You can download my time audit as your first step to managing your time better. I have a Facebook group for working homeschool moms that you can join as well. And be sure to sign up to my newsletter for weekly updates. And if you need additional support, you can join the WHM Collective, which is a supportive community of working homeschool moms where we delve deeper into topics that are going to help you thrive as a working homeschool mom. Or if you need one-to-one support, be sure to book in a session with me. I'm so excited for you to be here, and I know you'll get so much value out of this episode. So let's get started. Working homeschool mom, I know how overwhelming it can be to choose a math curriculum for your homeschool. That's why I'd like to tell you about the online math curriculum we've been using for years, ctcmath.com. As far as math curriculums go, it has loads of great features that solve lots of the math issues we've had, and I know a lot of homeschooling families have. Here are just a few of the many features that we really like. Questions are adaptive, which means the interactive questions change in difficulty depending on the student's ability. The program uses a smart algorithm that tracks the student's progress and delivers questions based on their exact needs. The student doesn't even know this is happening, helping them to build confidence and master math concepts. Concepts are delivered through video tutorials and summaries which are clear, complete, and easy to follow. It's like having your very own teacher. This ensures your children understand something before they're asked to practice it. And then for us parents, CTC Math has extensive reports which are so valuable in monitoring your child's progress and spotting any gaps. And they offer a 12-month money-back guarantee if this curriculum is not for you and your family. CTC will provide a full refund, no questions asked. But I think the most important thing is a whole lot less stress when it's math time for both parents and kids. You get to outsource math with confidence, and your kids get a fantastic tailor-made program that makes learning and mastering math enjoyable and positive. Visit CTC Math today to start your free trial. CTC Math is also offering you, listener, an amazing special. When you go to ctcmath.com/MLH, you can get a half price discount plus a bonus 6 months for free. That's ctcmath.com/MLH. How to balance time as a work-from-home homeschool mom. Being a work-from-home homeschool mom definitely has many advantages, but it can also be tough to balance time when everything is less compartmentalized. So, in today's episode, I'm going to look at some of the time pros and cons of being a work from home homeschool mom. And then I'm going to give you some strategies that will help you balance your time in an effective way. So, let's dive in. Let's start with the time pros of being a work from home homeschool mom. As I said in the intro, I've always worked from home and homeschooled, and I absolutely love it. I feel like there are so many advantages to this way of life. It's not the only way to work and homeschool, obviously, but it's what I know best. So let me share just a few of the things that I love about it. There are many. The first thing is smart multitasking. You know, I'm not a fan of multitasking. I think it's so important to be fully present when you're working or homeschooling. That being said, you can easily multitask with things that don't need a lot of attention. Laundry and cleaning are great examples, and this kind of multitasking helps you to balance time. So I can put a load of laundry on at any time in the day when it suits me. I can also easily spend 15 minutes decluttering a drawer in between tasks and do a quick pickup around the house when I feel the need. It's obviously much easier because I am at home, and it also kind of helps to break up, blocks of time. Something else I love to do is to listen to podcasts or audiobooks when doing something boring like folding laundry. So it's a great way for me to get ideas and inspiration for my business, to kind of work on my business strategically, still get stuff done around the house. There's an interesting idea from Motherhood Life Balance, and they speak about multitasking physical and mental tasks. And when I read this, I was like, that makes so much sense. It's true that it's impossible to try to do two mental things at the same time or two physical things at the same time, even though I know I definitely try. So they've got some suggestions for, things that you can do together, and I'll link that in the show notes. And then the next obvious thing is more time with your kids. As a work from home homeschool mom, you get to spend a lot of time with your kids. And, remember, it doesn't have to be all structured learning too, but that's a whole nother episode. You have the opportunity to carve out pockets of time to just hang out with your kids, teach them lots of useful life skills, chores, how to clean, how to vacuum. Those kind of things take time, and kids need to learn them. And it's a really good opportunity when you're at home to teach them those things. You can be there in the moment when they need something rather than them having to postpone it till later on. And you can build a really strong bond. I do have to say that it can be quite full on sometimes, so just keep that in mind. But I think overall, the amount of time that you spend with your kids is such a gift. And it's definitely been one of the things I've loved the most. Because when my kids were in public school or when I was at work, I missed them so much. So it's been really wonderful to see them grow and develop right in front of my eyes. All right, but we're actually going to be talking about the disadvantages or the cons of being a work from home homeschool mom. And as always, I'm going to give you some strategies to overcome these disadvantages. Obviously, nothing is just all pros and no cons, no matter how wonderful it is. And also, everyone's reality is different. It's really important to keep that in mind as well. So if you're thinking about working from home and homeschooling, let me tell you what I've found the trickiest. There could be other things, but this is what I found that was difficult for me to overcome. And then, like I said, I'll give you some strategies to overcome this. So the problem is it's difficult to separate different parts of your life. This is my biggest issue with being a work from home homeschool mom. An article in Forbes speaks about people working longer hours during the pandemic. And I spoke to many people during that time. I had many students who worked many, many hours and who told me about that increased amount of hours that they worked. And one of the contributing factors that Forbes says, and I believe as well from the people that I spoke to, is working from home and not being able to separate their day into work and then home. So even though I've been working from home for almost a decade, I totally get why this happened. It's so easy to add on hours in the early morning, evenings, weekends. This has definitely been the biggest obstacle I've had to overcome, the ability to balance time effectively without clear or obvious boundaries. And it's been a hard one. So if you're struggling, here are some tips. First solution is to get dressed in the morning. I know it sounds simple. Get dressed in the morning and then get undressed when work is done. And I used to work in my PJs in bed for a long time. And it just felt like I was never finished with work. It was never finished. It was always ongoing. Everything just melts into one. Now I get dressed. I put on my red lipstick, which everybody knows I love. It only takes a few minutes, but it's really creating this particular boundary around the one area of my life, as you would if you went to work. So the next solution is to create a separate workspace. So I know this isn't possible for everyone. Not everyone has loads of space, but you can make a space with just a small table, for example, or you could have an area on the dining room table, or you could include something that represents work for you, like, I don't know, like folders or whatever, or files and things like that. So you do create a kind of space that is particularly a workspace. And then when you're done, you close the door if you're lucky enough to have a space, or you pack away your laptop. That's another simple thing to do. You pack it away so that you can't see it. And it's a really easy but great way to separate the two parts of your life. The next solution is to be really present in each task. This is something that's going to take practice. We're so used to doing a million things at once or being easily distracted, but it's going to make balancing time much easier. So when you're homeschooling, you're fully engaged and present, and the same for work. It will also really help you to use your time more effectively. You'll need to learn to set boundaries around each task. And even though it may feel tough, or you might even feel guilty at the beginning, it really is worth it in the long run. And then my final solution is balancing time with a separating activity. Something that's also really powerful is to break up your day with a separating activity, much like commuting does when you move from work to home. It's a very definite shift from one reality to the other. But obviously, if you work from home and you homeschool, so you don't have maybe the opportunity to take your kids to school to pick them up, you really need to maybe use a separating activity to separate the different parts of your day. So depending on the season, I like to separate things with a walk, reading for 30 minutes, or even doing some cleaning. It gives my brain time to rest so that I can start fresh on the next activity. My final thoughts on how to balance time as a work-from-home homeschool mom. Being a work-from-home homeschool mom can make it difficult to balance time in your day. It's easy for everything to feel chaotic and messy as it all melts into one. That being said, with a few strategies, as I mentioned before, you can find time for everything and you can make the most of all the advantages this way of life offers. And I fully believe the advantages totally outweigh the disadvantages. As always, if you need to talk it out or work on some strategies, then please book in a session with me. Together, we can figure this out. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please let me know what your greatest takeaway was. You can reach out to me on Instagram at charlottejones247 or on my website at mylittlehomeschool.com, or you could even drop me an email at hello@mylittlehomeschool.com. I'd be ever so grateful if you could rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. It will help spread the news about being a working homeschool mom, and in that way we can build this wonderful, supportive community together. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care.